So welcome to this segment now as we continue looking at metals. Remember we have been talking about alloys. So I want to show you some sample questions and how you can go about answering such sample questions in the exam. So the first one there says that brass is an alloy of two elements. So it is an alloy of two elements. Then the question there says define the term alloy. So they want you to define the term alloy. So remember we said an alloy is a mixture. So we did say an alloy is a mixture of two or more metals. So you can say it's a mixture of two or more metals. Or you can simply say it is a mixture of a metal and a non-metal. There's no problem. Or you can simply say mixture of a metal. So it is a mixture of a metal and a non-metal. So it is also possible that you can also define it that way. Then B there says that state the two elements that make up brass. So what are the two elements that make up brass? Remember, brass is simply made up of copper and zinc. So those are the two elements that make up brass. Then C says draw a general. So I want you to draw a general structure that represents the bonding in brass. So what's the general structure? Remember what I told you? If you want to draw that, you can draw the bigger particles. You can also draw, the smaller ones. That is what you can do. You can do it more nicely. So you can actually get to do it, I believe, more nicer than the way I'm actually drawing. But of course, I can say maybe this is, maybe these are representing foreign atoms. Yes, foreign atoms. Maybe you can have one can represent zinc, and the little ones there can also represent copper, because there's a you're going to find that copper is a lot. Normally when they're making brass, you're going to find that copper is about 70% and zinc is only about 30%. Therefore, you need to make sure that the copper atoms, those representing copper atoms, are actually a lot as compared to those representing zinc, which I'm simply saying they are foreign atoms. Then the D part there says that why is a bar of brass harder than a bar of individual elements? This is because, a bar of brass has atoms of different sizes. That makes it to be harder. So we can simply say, maybe I can simply say that's the D part. I can say that a bar of brass has atoms of different sizes that disrupts the shape, making it harder than individual elements. So that is what you need to remember. So because of the presence of foreign particles, they help to disrupt the shape of an alloy, and that makes an alloy actually to be much harder than the individual elements from which they are made from. All right, so that's the way you can do it. Let's look at our last one there. This is question number 2. It also came in the ECZ exam. It says one major use of iron in everyday life is making of alloys. Then A says describe the structure of an alloy. Then draw a label diagram to illustrate your answer. So I want you to describe the structure of an alloy. So when they tell you to describe, well, you can simply say, the structure of an alloy consists of a metal and another metal. So an alloy, in other words, they're telling you to define an alloy. An alloy is a mixture, so we can just say is a mixture of a metal and another I can say another element. That is what I can say. These other elements can either be a metal or it could be a non-metal. That is what we said. So that is what you need to remember. Then of course, the atoms are of different they're of different sizes, because the question says you describe. So the atoms are of different sizes. That is what so you need to illustrate that by drawing. Remember, we have actually been drawing that, so I'll leave that up to you. You can draw the structure of an alloy. So that is what they wanted you to do there. B says give 2 reasons why iron is iron. So why is iron alloy? So one, we can maybe say number 1, to improve the appearance. So to improve the appearance of iron. So that is what they can do. So to improve the appearance of iron. Then 2, to make iron, maybe you can say flexible in use. So you can also do that. Another one, you can simply say, to make iron, durable and reliable. So that's the other reason. The other reason that you can talk about, to increase resistance, to increase resistance to rusting. In this case, I'm not saying corrosion, but I'm saying iron does rust, so to increase resistance to rusting. So that is what you can talk about. So you can choose any, because the question wanted you just to state 2 reasons why iron is the alloyed. C1 says name 2 alloys of iron. So what are the 2 alloys of iron? So you can talk about any alloys. In the previous one, brass is an alloy of iron, and you can also talk about bronze. So brass, bronze, those are simply the question says name the 2 alloys of iron. So these are alloys of copper. So they are the 2 alloys of iron. You can simply talk about mild steel and stainless steel. So you can talk about mild steel and stainless steel are simply alloys of iron. Brass and bronze are simply alloys of copper. They mainly contain copper. So that is what you need to remember. Sometimes instead of mild steel, you can also talk about industrial steel here. So it is also possible. Then C2 says state 1 use of each alloy stated. For example, if I talked about mild steel, what is the use of mild steel? Remember what we said, you can fall back, used. So mild steel can be used for making bridges. So you can actually use it for making bridges. It can be used for making automobile body parts. It can also be used for making boring tools or crushing equipment. You can actually use it. So you can also say maybe used for making crushing. So crushing equipments. You can finish up that. Then when it comes to stainless steel is simply used for making what we call as being cutlery. So it is used for making cutlery. In case you are not able to see the word cutlery, we actually spell it this way, such as knives, spoons, and etc. etc. Then this says give 1 use of iron other than making alloys. So apart from making alloys, what is another use of iron? So D is simply telling us what is another use of iron. Well, iron has got different uses, so it will depend with the type of iron again that you are dealing with. I'll give you an example. If they talk about what we call pig iron, which is an impure form of iron. So an impure form of iron. So this is actually an impure form of iron. So if you're dealing with an impure form of iron, you can use it in making what we call as being fire grates. You can also use it for making, engine blocks. It is possible. You can also use it for making what we call as being a Bunsen burner. It is possible you can use it. But if you are dealing with a purest form of iron that we call as being wrought iron. So wrought iron is a pure form of iron. You can use it for making maybe nails. You can also use it for making sheetings, roofing sheets and the like, and other things that you can do. You can also make agricultural implements. So you can actually make agricultural implements, things that are used in agriculture. So these are some and many others that you can actually talk about. Thank you for watching my videos. Please watch out later on as we look at extraction of some metals.